The original Ghostbusters is one of the greatest movies of all time. I dare say it is the very best intellectual comedy, dry humor comedy ever placed on a silver screen. That is how much I love that film. But does Ghostbusters Frozen Empire even come close to recapturing the magic? And what is the honest review? Folks, it's coming to you right now. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Pro Channel. Boy, oh boy, are we happy to see you and TGIF. Or if you're watching this on Saturday, well, you know what? That's a great day too. Happy weekend, everybody. Many of you out there are trying to decide what you are going to go see in theaters, if you're going to go to theaters at all this weekend. And you're waiting on bated breath, I'm sure, for the excellent and honest review from this channel so that you can decide what you're going to do. Before we get into this, I want to say that Culture Casino has also put out a phenomenal review of the movie. If you want to check out Culture Casino's review, I highly recommend it. I also have enjoyed others. Jeremy Johns, I thought, did a great job on it. But we're here to give you my opinion as well as the opinion of Ron of Follow the Bradleys Fun. We both had just seen the film. We both sat down. We both gave our review, coming from people who love this film, at least love the people involved in it. I have every reason to want this film to be great. I love going to watch Dan Akroyd. I am a huge fan of so many of Bill Murray's movies. I like Paul Rudd. I like so many other people involved in this. Patton Oswalt not included, although everybody deserves a chance at redemption. He just needs to take the first step towards it. Be nice to everybody, Patton. Come on, you can do it. Maybe, I don't know. But we have every reason to want this to succeed so much. Let's get into the review right now. All right, now, of the panelists here, only the folks in the very middle have seen it, unless, Steve, have you had a chance to see the movie yet? Steve, you're muted. Come on, you're a pro at this. You know what to do.
Sorry, I was clicking on things. No, I have not seen it. The next movie I'll be seeing in theaters will be the Henry Cavill one in April. So
Gotcha. All right, well, let's way straight into this then. Ron and I have seen Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Ron, I'll give some of my first hot takes on it, which maybe that's not appropriate given that it's based around cold this time. And then I'm excited to see what you have to say, where we agree and where we disagree. All right, folks, the reviews for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire are not good on Rotten Tomatoes. That's fair to say. And some of the YouTubers out there who have already weighed in have not necessarily been kind, although I have seen some positive reviews of Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Here's my take on it. Ron, when I was watching the movie, there were times that I was having a very good time. For example, Bill Murray, when he is on the camera, when he is on the screen, I'm having a very good time. When Dan Akroyd is on, I'm having a good time. When Ernie is on, I'm having a good time. The problem happens when they're not on. The problem is, and even, I got to say, even Paul Rudd, I don't know if it's the writing, I don't know if it's the director, he doesn't have much to work with, but the movie frustrated me because I hated large portions of this film, and I liked portions of this film. But I'm going to give you without doing spoilers, here's really what came down to me to let me know. And I want to say, too, I went with my father to see this film, and I went with my father to see the original Ghostbusters film in its original release in theaters. And it was a really cool thing for me and him to go back to this. In theaters, day one, lots of fun. So a cool thing there. There's a scene where Bill Murray makes a joke about puppies. And in that moment, I laughed. I looked over, my father laughed. And there's no reason for it to be funny, except that Bill Murray knows really, really what he's doing. He holds it. He delivers the line in the perfect way. And it's like you're back in 1984 again. The problem is that all of the non-Ghostbuster characters, the original Ghostbusters, except for perhaps Grace, she might get a pass on this. But all of the other characters they're like cartoon versions of what Ghostbusters is. And that doesn't work. There's also way too many people in this movie, like way too many people. And because of that, they don't have stuff to do, or worse, they have boring things to do. So, for example, Finn he's trying to catch Slimer. All right, that's the whole thing. That's his whole shtick. That just doesn't carry it, and there's no real payoff in the end. You've got other characters who, they're trying to become the proper parent, and there's just not a big payoff in the end. What you need is you need Bill Murray, you need Dan Aykroyd doing what they do, because what they did in the original is what you have to do if you're going to do a proper Ghostbusters, and that is, let me explain this to everybody real quick, and then Ron, I'm going to hand it to you. What makes the original Ghostbusters great, and by great I mean it's the greatest dry comedy film of all time. Okay, it's not a slapstick comedy. It is not a Ace Ventura style comedy. It is dry humor comedy. It is high intelligence comedy. The reason that the original Ghostbusters works is because it is three cynics, but they're all cynics in different ways, connected with one guy who is enthusiastically full-on paranormal believer. And a lot of people don't realize this is where the humor comes from, right? So if you go back, Peter Venkman is the ultimate cynic of anything supernatural. He's also a cynic of the world. He is there to game everything, right? Egon is a skeptic of the paranormal because he is the ultimate scientist. And he's such an ultimate scientist that he can't connect with other people. He doesn't even know how to interact with other people. And then you have Ernie, who is there, and he is the skeptic in that he doesn't he's just there to make money. He doesn't care about anything except just the job. You put those three guys together, and what you get is this really funny combination of them taking advantage of the one guy who is the ultra believer. And that's why Dan Aykroyd is so great in that first film. He's the unsung hero. Everybody clings to Bill Murray, and he's great. But what happens is when you take this movie from Oklahoma, which is what the prior movie was, and you put it into New York, you need to make a Ghostbusters movie. And this is a Ghostbusters world, but it's a teenager family drama taking place in it. And that doesn't work for me. And so, Ron, your thoughts on this, and then I'll give my numerical score after I hear what you have to say. Agree or disagree, and tell us what you felt and thought.
Pretty much agree for the most part. I went into this, and here's the funny thing, Pro will know this, had no conversations before today about this. I already had my ticket for today, so it just so happened to work out. But that being aside, first of all, I have to say that having seen the entire film, there was a biases that I now technically have that I did not know that I would have before. I happen to have a friend in the film. I did not know he was in the film, and I have to put that out there. I won't say what role he's in, other than he plays a prominent part of the mid-credit scene, and only pro should know what that means.
That's right.
But yeah, I mean, he and I used to do stand-up comedy together on stage back in the day. Wow. So it was really cool seeing him on the screen, just having him have that part. That being said, the movie as a whole, and let me see if you would agree with me on this, it was 15 to 20 minutes of a Ghostbusters movie. And
it makes you long for a real Ghostbusters movie.
Exactly. So out of, just to give an overall rating, out of the, I guess technically there's 5 Ghostbusters movies. The number one Ghostbusters movie is the first Ghostbusters movie. I actually liked new Ghostbusters, not this one, but the last one, a little bit better than number 2. But I did like number 2. And then this one is a bit of a distant fourth, in my opinion. And I wish it wasn't that way. The trailer really built this up to be something that is not. I thought this was going to be a much bigger deal, a much bigger threat than because in the trailer, the way the trailer presents the threat is the way the movie should have began, and it didn't. There's just like in my head while I was watching it, I was like, oh, if they would have edited it this way, they could have fixed this and this and that.
Oh,
and
yeah,
that.
that's what I was thinking too. And I don't usually do that. I don't usually, in the midst of the movie, think about how to re-edit it. Usually I'm thinking about how they can make it better, but that's, you and I have the same
and it was
situation.
annoying. There's a lot of potential, but I'm 100% sure you'll agree with me on this. 100% eliminate the Oswald character. No need. Not a need. Everything that Patton Oswalt's character did, Dan Aykroyd's character should have done.
I knew it. Well, it's okay. This is where I want to jump. I knew it. So basically, everyone who said that movie is going to not be good because Patton Oswalt was in it was essentially correct, and that almost all of the fears that were espoused 9 to 12 months ago were all correct, and nothing was gained, nothing was lost. So it's just
so Patton is there for a very short amount of time. It's a throwaway with him. Yeah, easy views. Don't break their eardrums out there. But it's a throwaway scene with Patton. He's not really consequential. But
that's the thing. It's a distraction that Dan Aykroyd should. It really bothered me that you have Dan Aykroyd's character that should have done everything that Patton did in a much more concise period of time.
Yeah, it was just dumb. And then so if this movie had been about Dan Aykroyd training the young girl to be a Ghostbuster, this could have been phenomenal.
Yeah,
Instead,
McKenna Grace.
We get these weird things where she's talking with a ghost girl for like 10 and 15 minutes, and you're just like, this is not Ghostbusters. Like this doesn't, I don't care if it's a boy or a girl or what. This is not. By the way, can we just say welcome Jonas, because Jonas is sliding in while John
hey Jonas
exit. Jonas, welcome
here?
aboard, sir.
Hey, I don't know how I got here.
Nobody knows. Ron, here's how I'm going to rate it, and then get your final thoughts on it.
Sure.
The original Ghostbusters, I give a 10 out of 10. I think it's the greatest dry comedy in the history of cinema. I could watch the original Ghostbusters every week, and I think I would still have a good time. There are lines in the original Ghostbusters film that I did not understand were a joke for years. And then on rewatch went, oh my gosh, they slipped in a joke into that spot. Like it is a masterpiece. It is one of the crowning achievements of comedy. So that's a 10 out of 10. The second Ghostbusters, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I think it took a hard hit because it had the name Ghostbusters on it. I think as a standalone film, it's great. I think in comparison to the first one, it's not close, but it's still an 8 out of 10. And I could watch it again and again. One of the other secret sauces is Rick Moranis. This film desperately needs a Rick Moranis, because the fun of the original two Ghostbusters is that they live in a real world and everybody thinks they're nuts, and they are nuts. It's that grittiness that really makes it shine. And Rick Moranis does such, Rick Moranis is like the Steve Carell of those movies. He's dorky and lovable and all of these things, but he's still real. And when they tried to do in this movie, they try to get a Rick Moranis kind of performance, and it only works in the last 5 minutes of the movie, and otherwise it doesn't.
So, can I ask? So, isn't that supposed to be the Kill Johnny, or however you say his name?
Yes.
That he's supposed to be.
Doesn't work.
Yeah, okay.
Doesn't work. I wish it worked. It does not work, and it's too goofy. It's too cartoonish. The all girls Ghostbusters, I give a 2 out of 10. It was awful. It was painful to watch. And then the last one, where it was in Oklahoma, I give that a 6.5 out of 10. It's not a Ghostbusters movie, but it's heartfelt, and I understood why it existed. The problem was that when they moved this to New York, this had to become Ghostbusters, and those characters had to be a Ghostbusters movie. That didn't happen, and so this one I give a 4.5 out of 10. And I hate to do that. And let me say this too real quick. Last point. I'm long-winded. The last point I'll make is, I hope everybody out there can understand this is a representation of the honesty we try to have here, because I don't think I'm a big fan of Bo DiMaio, the guy who did the X-Men 97 series. I mean, he said some things and done some things that I think they're detestable. I don't think it's appropriate for the guy running a kids show. Yet we gave the first 2 episodes an 8.5 out of 10, and I said the first episode of X-Men 97 is a 10 out of 10. It's wonderful. But with this one, I have every desire to give it a positive score. I love everybody involved in it. These, I want to give this a great score. I want to be swayed, and I just can't be. And it sucks. I wanted to have a great time, but I'm sorry. It's not a great movie. It's watchable, it's passable, but it's not a great movie. Steve, go ahead.
No, I was just going to roast you and say that you're a Disney shill, and everything that Disney Plus has come out with, you've rated it far better than it actually deserves. So
it's my secret plan, you troll.
I'm actually just
I'll be a shill if
you.
you'll be a troll. Of all the people to call me a shill, the guy who literally manipulates a troll.
Can everybody hear me?
Yeah, Hughes.
Yeah.
Did you have a thought on that?
I'm just heartbroken. I mean, about Patton Oswalt, I knew it. I had a bad idea about that. I even said in my videos and stuff, but I freaking knew it.
Ron, your final thoughts having seen the film. What do you think?
Well, it's really hard for me because I wanted this to be a theater-worthy film, which is getting harder and harder because, to be honest, budgets and everything, and the capabilities that we have to watch things at home in the theatrical experience make it more and more difficult for a movie to be a theater level experience, like say an Avengers Endgame was, or Infinity War, which is even better. But it's not necessary. I mean, you do not. This is a kind of movie that if you didn't see it and it's 3 years from now and it comes on TNT or you happen to see it on Netflix, you go, oh, I'll pop it in.
It's not painful. It's kind of boring.
Right. It's there to pass time. And it's
the sad thing is, Ron, Bill Murray and Dan Akroyd and everybody else still have it. Like when they're on, when they do their thing, you're like, please, just leave them on the screen. I'm begging you.
So that's the question I want to ask you.
The fact that Paul Rudd brought the movie down bothered me.
Whoa!
I don't think he had anything to work with. I don't think they gave him anything to work with. There's he doesn't have a joke written into the script.
Oh, that's really bad.
It's horrible. It's bad.
That's really bad. He's one of those people that's just funny. I don't think he's laugh out loud funny all the time, but he's generally he's just kind of a lovable base level, amusing at all times. So would you say that Bill Murray was Bill Murray collecting a paycheck, or was he Bill Murray as Dr. Peter Venkman?
No, he was Venkman. There's one scene where he's asking questions of somebody, and it just took me back to my happy place. It was wonderful to have him rocking those jokes that way.
I want to say that I think that scene, and I know what you're talking about, is the only, I'll call it nostalgia bait type scene that really worked. I think they threw a lot of nostalgia bait at the screen that just totally fell flat.
Well, you can do a wink and a nod, but if you have to make a journey to go to get the nostalgia bait, right? If the member berries require a quest, and the member berries don't have an impact on the rest of the story, if it's a side quest, that's a problem, and there's a lot of that. So, well, folks, that was depressing.
Bro, you ready for
Jonas?
Some chats?
All right, folks, that is it for us today. This review is done. Did it leave you feeling slimed, or do you think that you might still find a good time with Ghostbusters Frozen Empire? Despite the fact I'm giving it a 4.5 out of 10, just below average, I still hope you'll go see it. That's the real secret here, folks. I like these people so much. And I still want another Ghostbusters. I want another swing at this. I just want to be a part of writing the script because, as Culture Casino and I talked about off air, we could do better on this. We'd like a hand at it. So call us up if you want us to write a Ghostbusters script. We'll do it. We're going to make our own content soon, one way or the other. Our own franchises, folks. We'll have announcements. It's on the way. All right, but one thing that is definitely on the way, we need your help. Like, share, subscribe. Click it, stick it to the algorithms. It's the notification bell. It truly means a lot, folks, and every single time you do it, it does indeed move the needle. You are the gigawatts. Folks, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, keep having fun, and yes, bustin' makes me feel good.